Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and welcome to my plant tour. This has been a long time coming because so many people have asked me for a plant tour and I always had an issue with a specific plant that I didn't want to show in the plant tour, so that prevented me from filming it, but I'm finally here with a plant tour and I'm going to walk you through all the plants I own and it's going to be a grand old time. So the reason why I started collecting plants is because of Jenna Marbles. She previously posted a plant tour a while back and I immediately wanted to collect plants of my own because it just seems like a very gratifying hobby to have. You get to take care of something, see it grow, see it thrive, and kind of problem solve to see how you can fix it to make it the best possible plant you can have. So I started collecting plants because of Jenna Marbles and I take care of them because of this app called Planta. This is not an ad, it's simply an app that I use to take care of plants. All you do is log in your location so it can know the temperature of your environment. You log in all the plants that you own by its species name and then you can name them, put them into specific rooms into your house so it knows whether it's in a dark area, if it's close to a window or not, if it's in a too brightly lit area, and based off of all that information, what season it is, the app will tell you when to water each plant. I overwatered my plants a lot in the beginning, but because I got this app, it helps me cut back on all that overwatering and I check it every single day to see which plant I have to water because I have too many plants that I would just kind of forget which one was watered and which one wasn't. So I find that app to be really helpful. So I wanted to mention that at the beginning. If you want to eventually collect plants but you aren't sure how to take care of them, that app is really helpful. But let's get into the plants that I own in my room. Then we will go to my first floor and then we will go to my front porch where there are a couple more plants. So let's start with the plant that is not in this collection because she is hanging by my window, and her name is Wanda Maximoff and she is a ruby cascade, and I got her a while back and she only hung around this much because her rubies cascade, and she has grown so much in the last few months and I'm just so proud of her. I had a lot of issues with her at the beginning because I wasn't sure how much lighting she needed, how much water she needed, and she was losing a lot of leaves very fast. So I decided to move her closer to my window in indirect light and I gave her the proper amount of water because of Planta, and now she is thriving. She is the perfect plant if you like a hanging plant, and it's a perfect plant that you can get if you don't want to put a plant in direct light. If you have indirect light, they will definitely not thrive in full sunlight, and if you overwater them, the leaves will shrivel. But I finally learned how to take care of her and now she is perfect. I'm so happy with her. I love Wanda and she's a great plant. Now let's move on to my collection here. In the back we have my snake plant, which is named Scorpius, and it is the plant that I got right before lockdown. So I kind of measure the passage of time through these leaves that are growing, and it has grown so much since I initially got it. I just love this plant so much. It is the perfect beginner plant because it can thrive in low lighting, it can be neglected and forgotten to be watered, and it will still look the same and be a very easy plant to take care of, which is why you see often in offices because people use them to brighten up the space in a dark space, and it's a plant that you can forget about and it won't really die. So I'm very happy with Scorpius. I'm very happy with its growth, and it's just a great plant overall. Next we have my prayer plant, which is named after Renee Magritte, which is one of my favorite artists of all time. This is a plant that I wanted to get because I love the pattern of the leaves. I think they are so cool, and what's cool about a prayer plant is that the leaves move throughout the day, and that is the appeal of the prayer plant. And I just wanted to get this because I really loved the leaves. I thought it was an interesting plant to look at. This is definitely a plant that you have to be on top of in terms of watering because if you let the soil dry out even a little bit, the leaves will start to get crispy like you can see on a couple of leaves here. But it's a plant that I'm still learning how to take care of, and a plant that you have to be very patient with because if you mess up even a little, it'll show on the leaves. But it has grown a lot since I have gotten it and I'm trying to treat it as best as I can, and I just love it. Then we have a plant that is incredibly easy to take care of, and that is my ZZ plant that I named Azula. Azula is a plant that I initially thought was fake when I first got it from my aunt because it feels like plastic, and it wasn't growing for a while, and then it started growing exponentially. And I have this in the corner of my room by my bed where it gets virtually no direct sunlight, and I water it only around 2 times a month, and it has grown so much. ZZ plants are the perfect plants for beginners because you can neglect it, you can put it in dark spaces, and it'll still grow and thrive. And I have had no issues with this ZZ plant. It is so easy to take care of. It's definitely the easiest plant in my collection to take care of, and it's also just very cool to look at because the leaves just grow so wide, and it's a very cool plant to have. Then we have one of the first plants in my collection, Evelyn Hugo, and it's a teardrop peperomia. And I previously had a very big bush of this teardrop peperomia, and then it kind of died because I didn't realize I had to trim back the stems, and the stems started to break because they were getting too long, which I didn't know about. But then I saved a couple of stems from that initial plant, planted it into this tiny pot, and it's kind of growing back and getting bigger and fuller throughout the couple of months. That's it. That's Evelyn Hugo. The next plant that I have is named Alex Trebek. This is a Nanook, and I got it because I wanted to get a plant that had a purplish hue to commemorate Alex Trebek's cancer that he was fighting, because a lot of people wore purple ribbons for him throughout the show, and Jeopardy is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I love Alex Trebek with all my heart. He's definitely one of the biggest inspirations in my life. So when he passed away, I wanted to get a plant in his honor, so I got a Nanook. A Nanook is very interesting because it propagates so easily. It is a plant that grows very quickly, and it grows these stems that you can simply cut off, put back into the plant, and it'll grow back a whole new stem. The only issue with a Nanook is you have to be on top of the watering, similar to my prayer plant, because if you do not water it for a couple of days, the leaves will start to shrivel and dry up. So you have to be on top of its watering schedule, but once you kind of pack that down and get it set in your mind, then it'll grow so quickly, and you could just keep on putting pieces of itself back into the pot, and it'll grow a really full plant. Then we have my pothos and a couple of strands of my teardrop peperomia in here, and this plant is called Poe after Poe Dameron from Star Wars. This is the only plant that is causing me issues right now, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. And the last plant in my room is my fiddle leaf fig called Humphrey Bogart. My mom actually told me I should put it in my front porch because it'll grow so much bigger than what it does right now. It has grown a couple of leaves while living in my room, but I know if it was in full light, it would grow into the tree it actually is. This is a plant that I got because I just love the look of the leaves, and I've seen so many pictures of it on Instagram and Pinterest, and it's just a very pretty plant to have, and a lot of people do have them as actual trees in their house. I think this one might move to the front porch, but I'm still unsure about that move because I don't know what I would put in the place of Humphrey Bogart. Those are all the plants in my room, and now let's go to the downstairs so I can show you Humphrey Bogart's wife, Lauren Bacall, along with a couple of other plants on my front porch. Welcome to my favorite plant. I know a lot of people be like, I can't pick a favorite plant. This is my favorite plant. This is my favorite plant. This is the love of my life. Her name is Lauren Bacall, and she is a Monstera deliciosa. I have wanted a Monstera for the longest amount of time because I think their leaves are absolutely beautiful. She actually was going to die when I first got her because the nursery that I initially got her from overwatered her to an extreme amount. Her soil was filled with gnats, and it was a horrible experience. And I actually had to repot her twice to get all the gnats out of her soil, but once that finally cleared up and she got some fresh soil and she was just thriving on her own and really dried out, she became the perfect plant of my life. She actually was taller a couple of weeks ago, but because her two stems were growing so tall and had so many leaves on them, they were starting to kind of tip over and kind of grow like this. So we actually cut one of those stems, put it into water, let it grow roots, and planted it back into the plant. So it is a smaller height, but it's a fuller plant now. I just think she is the prettiest plant I own. She has such interesting patterns, and each leaf is different, and she just continually grows new leaves during the summer. During the winter time, she's definitely going to slow down with her growth. but she is the perfect plant, the light of my life. I post updates about her all the time on my Instagram, and people are always asking how she is over on my Instagram, and I just love her. Lauren Bacall I can talk about for hours, and I do all the time to my family members. Sometimes I just stare at her while I'm eating dinner because she's in our dining room, and I'm like, she's just a gorgeous plant. Her leaves are absolutely beautiful. Some of them have a couple of crispy bits on it because she is very close to the window, but I also feel like she thrives because she's close to the window. I genuinely think I could talk about her for a solid hour and just not mention the fact that she's a plant and just be like, she's growing, she's thriving, she is the light of my life, she's everything I think about, she is just so incredibly beautiful. And people will be like, who is that? And I'll be like, it's my Monstera deliciosa. I love her. She's my favorite plant. The last part of my plant tour is my front porch, which has a couple of plants that really thrive in full lighting. And the first plant that I have here is my hope plant. It is a split leaf, I can't even say the word that it is because it's such a long name, but its name is Mandalorian, or I call it Mandito. And Mandito had a pretty bad experience similar to Lauren Bacall. I got it from a nursery, and it was riddled with these really weird silver bugs in its soil. And apparently that was because the soil was so wet and disgusting that it had mold in it, and these bugs were actually there to eat the mold or something like that. So we switched out the soil like we did with Lauren Bacall. I believe we also did this twice because it was just so damp and gross that the plant was actually dying. The leaves were dying every single day, like a new one would die and fall off. I really had to go into the trenches to bring this plant back to life, but I'm very proud of the fact that I have done it twice now, one with Lauren Bacall and the other time with Mandito, to the point where Mandito also has a propagated son, some may say. It could be Grogu. It could be Grogu, yes, because I was so sure that this plant was going to die that I wanted to have like a second piece of it thriving on its own in case this one died, that I would have a backup, because it was a pretty expensive plant and I didn't want to lose all that money because the nursery just treated it so badly. But that is Mandito. He is a fairly easy plant to take care of. He does not need to be overwatered. He really thrives in bright light, and he has grown so much now that he is okay, his soil is okay, and he is just thriving without his fungal infection that he had. Then we have my Alocasia Polly, which I named Eurydice from Hadestown, and she is a beautiful, stunning plant. Look at this leaf. It has a couple of other leaves as well, but this is its biggest leaf. Eurydice is a very tricky plant because they die very quickly if you don't water them correctly. Their soil has to be consistently moist, and they have to be in the right amount of light in order for their leaves to thrive. And I found out that she thrives on my front porch with a consistent watering schedule. So I have finally cracked the code for Eurydice, because previously in the last year she was losing leaves left and right because I didn't know how to water her and what amount of sunlight she wanted. But now that I know what she wants, she's thriving, she's happy, she's living her best alocasia life. The last plant that I have to show you is my Ficus tonique, and this is a rubber plant that has this very cool glitchy effect on its leaves, and I once again wanted to get this plant because the leaves looked so cool. So my friend got this for me, and I love it. Its name is Loki. A lot of rubber plants are very easy to take care of. They are very good beginner plants, and they just thrive whether you water them a lot or a little, and whether you have them in bright or low light. It really thrives in my front porch because it's getting a substantial amount of light, so it grows very quickly. All these top leaves are new leaves, and I'm just very proud of Loki. Loki's my newest plant, and he has grown so much, treated me so well, and makes me so proud of him. And as a side note, the originator of my Poe plant, which is actually here, and if you have tips for any of these plants, please let me know, and I would also love for people to share some of their favorite plants down below. Do you also name your plants after some of your favorite characters? If so, please tell me the type of plant that you have and its name, and which one is your favorite in your collection. This collection is probably never going to get any bigger because I'm running out of space to put my plants in, But I am just so happy with my collection. All the leaves and all the different plants are so unique and so beautiful, and I've really started to understand each plant's needs and how to take care of it, and I'm just very happy with the knowledge that I've gained throughout the years of how to take care of plants and how to even bring them back to life when they are riddled with gnats and their soil is rotting because it's so overwatered. I'm really proud of how much knowledge I've gained and how well I take care of my plants, so I hope you enjoyed this tour. I really enjoyed filming it and showing off my plants and my knowledge as well. And let me know which one is your favorite out of my collection. If you have made it this far in the video, leave a plant emoji down below of your choice. And if you want to follow me anywhere else, especially on Instagram, because I do give a lot of plant updates over on my Instagram stories, all those links will be down below. And if you want to see any more videos from me in the future and you have a particular idea you want to share with me, put it down below in the comments. I would love to hear your ideas. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you around. Bye!